Hello everybody! Monday morning, or whenever you're gonna watch it, and it's time for another Art Journal watch-along video. This week I'm partially speeding things up to keep the video around about an hour and not bore you with the, not so great to watch stuff. And I'm starting this week with book pages that I glue onto my Art Journal page to make a background. We are still in September, so I'm making another page for the September challenge of the Jenny Valley Art Journal workshops, and they revolve this month around literary characters. So hey, book pages are the perfect background for that, right? So I'm just cutting some of the pages in half to cover my whole surface and not use too many pages of that. And now we're speeding up, and I'm using artist gel to glue everything down and seal it in, and it is like a clear gesso. So depending on the country that you're in and the supplies that you can get, go for clear gesso. If you're in Europe/Germany, go for artist gel of Rico Design maybe. They're a pretty good brand for that, and you get quite a bit for the money you spend. So I'm covering both of the pages. I'm going to blow dry them, and like I said, this gel seals everything in, so I'm going to have a non-porous surface which lets color be manipulated in a different way. I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds what I mean by that. So this week I'm going to have more a masculine and manly kind of a page, because the character that I'm going to put on is a guy, and the author is also a guy. And I'm trying, by the way, to sketch on a face here, but remembered that I had a seal surface there, so I'm going for acrylics instead, and I will put on the character on a different kind of page. So I'm just going for indigo acrylics here, putting the paint down pretty roughly, and I'm going to go over it with a paper towel, and it will leave a very nice pattern in a couple of minutes. Also, I am of course drying it down with my blow dryer. So back to the character. The author is a guy, and the hero is a guy, and they save the world over and over again. And this is actually the second author that I do not buy on ebooks, but only on hardcover or paperback real books, to have the full experience when I'm on the run with him or save the world. And this guy, the author, is actually my favorite all-time author, and it's Clive Cussler. He is my all-time favorite on this planet author. I love his books. I have all of them. I've read pretty much all of them. I have 2 more on my shelf that I haven't read yet, because I buy them when they come out, and I read them whenever I can, because I read them quite quickly. It's no problem for me to read one of his books in 48 hours, because once I start them, I can't put them down. It's exhausting and amazing all in one. And I read all of his books, the ones that he's written alone, or the ones that he's written with co-authors, and I love all of his different heroes. And yeah, so, but I'm putting down my favorite one. And you see, this blue background is kind of like waves. It reminds you of the sea, and that is on purpose, because the stories revolve around the NUMA, which actually exists, and that is the National Underwater and Marine Agency. So we have adventures in my favorite kind of element, which is the water. So right now I have sped the thing up again, because you know, it's the same old. Again, book pages ripped apart, putting it with artist gel / clear gesso onto some cardboard stock thing to have a surface that I will create the character on. And I'm going for a different style than last week because the hero or the character is so different from Diana Gabaldon's characters. The world is different, the story is different, the author is different, so of course my art style on this week's page will also be different. At least I'm going for that. And I'm going for, believe it or not, a more kind of like a Picasso style, a face that is so not realistic, but something draws you to it and you can't really pinpoint the reason. So I'm going for that. And since I have a sealed surface again, I can go in with my Indian ink markers that you can manipulate for quite a while if you put them on a surface that is non-porous. Since no paper can suck in that ink, I can manipulate it quite long before it actually dries down. And I'm choosing a couple of colors here that I want to use. The character in the book is described to be a very masculine man with a very prominent jawline and wavy black hair and green eyes. So you see now that I actually planned to just draw out the outlines and then fade them into the background with water. But what I did not anticipate was that the surface was so sealed and so slick that actually the water dissolved the color and did not move it around. Sorry. So that the water actually dissolved the color and did not move it around. So what I did in the end was just moving the color with my finger, with my dry fingers. That was actually enough. So I'm going I'm just putting the brush down and I'm just wiping everything dry, or dabbing it, better said. I'm going for Copics, see how they go, because they are very good on sealed surfaces as well, but no, not really. I will use them on top of the Indian inks later on though. So I'm just going for the Indian ink. It's beige, and I'm just outlining the eyebrows and the nose, because, and the jawline and everything else follows, because these are actually the things that the eyes, more the eyebrows actually, and the nose are the things that define what kind of a style I do a painting in when it comes to people, when it comes to portraits. Do I go for realistic? Do I go for cartoon? Do I go for this weird, surreal, almost Picasso style? What style do I go for? And the way I put down the nose and the eyebrows, and then following the jawline, that defines how the portrait will look, even when you can't really see anything already. So I'm going, everything is set in my head already at this point. So I'm going in with a darker gray, it's a warm gray, and I'm just defining the shadows of the nose a bit more. In the end, I want to have the book pages shine through quite a bit, but I want to have a distinct face as well. So I'm going in for the shades that will have way darker and more of an outline on top of that, on top of them way later in the drawing. So once that is set, I'm also painting or drawing. I never know if it is drawing or painting with markers. If you can clarify that for me. It's just so weird. So I'm going for the eyes as well. I'm putting things down, so to say. I know that it's drawing with pencils, but I'm not really drawing and I'm not really painting. It's a smish, smoosh, medium, middle mixture thing here, I guess. Because I'm drawing the things in, but I'm smudging everything right away. So it reminds me more of a painting actually than drawing. So what the heck? It's just words, right? So I'm going for very dark greens for the eyes. I'm gonna have light green on top way later. But the character, his name is Dirk Pitt, is supposed to have very clear and green eyes and be, well, quite a catch. And what I like about that character is that he is quite modest, though he knows what he can do. And I like that in people. When they know they can do something and do it well to drive humanity and society forward, but they're not bragging and they are, well, not too modest either, but just like accepting and being reasonable and okay with it, and being modest, but not like that kind of fake modesty that actually that people do when they want to be admired. It's like, it's nothing, so that you only say, well, it is something. I don't like that kind of a fake modesty. I like the real one. And that character is written in a way that that quality is one of the biggies in his character description. So, great thing. And I've been actually reading those books since I was 16, so that would be... Wow. It's 16 years already. Almost 17. Jeez. Wow. So I'm now going in with a black Indian ink, going for very wild, curvy lines to create the hair. And in the books, the hair of the character is described as very dark, almost black, and wavy black lines. So it's not curls, but the hair definitely has some body to it. And in the later books, there's also already the gray streaks on the temples and everything. So quite the handsome guy, right? So I'm just going for a dark outline or a very dark hair, pretty much. Again, the eye does what it wants to do. It sees what it wants to see. And when I cut that weird, almost Picasso-ish portrait later, it looks actually a bit cooler. Like, well, not better, but more complete, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. You will see it. I will come back to that once we're finished with the portrait and cut everything out. So I'm going for the mouth here, and I just ruined a line. So what can you do? You smudge it and you make a beard or a 3-day stubble, which that character often during his adventures has, because there's just no time for shaving, right? When you have to save the world. And it will fade into the background. That beard will fade into the background later too, so it will not be as dark, but for now I'm okay with that. It actually helps along that weird facial outline that is almost, that it reminds me quite a bit of the Picasso faces, because It's nowhere to realism, and it is, well, it's not cartoony either. It's something else, and usually it's Dali and Picasso that are something else. So I just drew in a blue shirt because that guy, Dirk, actually wears blue shirts quite a bit when he goes out with his girl, which I find very funny in the books. It's like, I'm very sorry for any American listening now. I'm not making fun of you. I find it adorable and sweet, but in a funny kind of a way. But not that mean, hilarious thing. The one thing that I find so often in any book that is written by an American author, male, I have to say, not female. When the guys go out with the girls and they want to make a good impression and whatnot, they always wear khaki pants and a blue shirt. And I find that so sweet and hilarious, funny thing, but not mean. It's adorable that every male author, American author, does that. And for the longest time I thought, well, it's just, I don't know, it's just a way to describe something that people don't do that. No, they do. I've seen so many guys that are 30 plus and they go out with their girls. They're wearing khaki pants and blue shirts. That's how you spot the American guy on vacation in Germany. And it's, like I said, so adorable. I love it. It's so sweet. It's such a nice thing. But again, it's funny. So I gave him the blue shirt because Clive Cussler does that as well with his characters. He gives them the blue shirt and the khaki pants when they go out with the girls. So I'm just defining a bit more. You might have noticed I switched to Copic markers, by the way, because they are not as... you can't manipulate them as long as the Indian inks. So I'm going for outlines and details here, not for the skin tone or just patterns or shades. I'm going for definition, so I switched the pen and I'm just outlining everything in the face. Again, and well, just locking everything in pretty much. Also the blue shirt. I'm sorry, I have to giggle again. It's I'm such a wild child sometimes, but it just amuses me, right? So I'm also going for some darker outlines of the face, a bit more on the hair, and I'm going to darken down the right hand side of the face a bit more, or of the ear area, because I just realized I forgot to draw in the ear, and I'm going to do so right now. Oh, well, in a second maybe. But I already had the Indian ink marker in my hand, so hey. Damn. Didn't know what I did when. So, right, now it's time to darken that area down and give it a hint of an ear. Just the way I did put the ink down, having that little white spot in between actually helps the eyes think that this is not the neck, but an ear. And again, we're just, well, Picasso-ish. So now everything has to dry, and it actually takes quite a bit to let the inks on that surface dry. And again, the pens, even on top of the markers, did not help, so I switched again, went for Copics again with a very light green, and I just did go on top, very carefully dabbing the light green on to give it a bit more of a vibrance. In the end, that worked out just fine. So now I'm just cutting the part of the face that I want to have. At least I start. And now I go for even more dark curls before I cut the rest. Now there's the outline of the ear. And I go for some more curls. Give it a bit of more of a, well, not complete, but a different kind of a look. It's just that few lines that make that much of a difference, right? Suddenly he has a neck or a back of the neck with the longer hair that is defined. We know that he is probably just looking over his shoulder to the side. It's just a perspective and angle kind of a thing that I wanted to clean up with those few black strokes that I just added. So I'm cutting around the drawing, and I try to not touch the parts that I used any markers on, because again, they're probably not really dry. They take forever to dry on a sealed, non-porous surface, and I don't want to have any more fingerprints on my drawing than I already have. Some are okay, but, well, not all of the page, right? So this is part 2 of the art journal page being done, and that is actually the part that worked out quite okay so far. Like I said, with the cutout image, it somehow looked more real to me, that portrait, than before, and I'm quite happy about that. Although I went for the surreal kind of design, I'm still happy that it looked more real. So now it's time to zoom in, and you might remember from the time that I ripped all of those book pages apart and glued them down. Some of the pieces I did not use because I just had enough to cover the page. So I kept those, and I will now draw some funny animals on them that live under the sea, because we're in the realms of the Muma, and well, I love the ocean. So I'm drawing different animals, and I will not even try to say the names of some, because I just don't know them. For example, of this lovely animal. I don't know the name. The English one. I know the German one, but I don't know the English one. So I'm not even trying, and I'm sorry, but I'm too lazy to look it up on the dictionary right now. So I'm just outlining everything so far. I will color all of the images later together. I will outline everything first. So this is a very big fish. I know the name of this animal. It's a fish. With a weird eye. But hey, that's the kind of eyes fishies have. But he has a smile, so that's cool. So I'm staying again quite cartoony. And now I'm going for another... What am I going for? No, I think I flipped that. Yeah, I'm going to flip that. I can't remember coloring that piece. Like, even even if you go in the realms of imagination and fantasy, even then some fishies are just not working out. And this one is one of them. Ta-da! I'm going... Oh, this is a very special one. It's made of steel, and it's called submarine. Because in some stories, him and his partner do save the world a lot by very cool submarines. And I was actually trying to do a fish swarm. I guess it's also called a swarm in English. but the tiny fishies would not look prominent enough even when they're colored on the book pages. So I just switched the pages to the page to the other side, and I'm going to make a very long fish. And I don't know if that kind of a fish even exists in real life, but I think he turned out fine in Fantasyland. Oh, now I'm going for a squid. I think it's called squid. It's the animal that gives you the calamari rings, but I think it says squid. Not squib. Squid. Squid or squib. One of those two words. I think it's squid. So I'm just going for that whole animal, and I'm going to color him quite bright. And, oh, of course, there have to be sea stars? Is it called sea stars? So the little creatures that live on the ocean floor. And, of course, I also need to have some shells. I'm desperately thinking about what the other word for shell was. Don't remember. There were, for the spiral things that I'm just drawing right now, they do have a different name in English. I know that, but gosh, I do not remember. It's almost embarrassing. I knew those words. Ah, damn. Maybe I remember. Until then, they're called the spiral shell. Oh, God. Now I'm so angry with myself that I don't remember it. Ah, damn. Anyways, what can you do? Well, you can color all of those lovely images. I'm starting with a very light, almost lavender purple color here. Very blue purple. When I say blue purple, it means that the red parts are less in this purple. So red and blue make purple. And depending on how much red and how much blue, like in comparison, parts per whatever you put in there, you actually get a blue or a red purple. And oh gosh, again, I'm off camera, off frame, and I'm drawing one more animal, and that is a crab. Because they also live on the bottom floor. Bottom floor? On the bottom of the ocean, or the ocean floor. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I was so distracted by, again, being off frame. Ah, boy. Bear with me. I'm sorry. I will have my hands back in frame in a minute. And then you can see that lovely picture of the crab that I just drew off camera. Unbelievable. Now I'm going back to coloring. So this is, in comparison, this is more of a reddish purple. So the parts per whatever in that kind of a color are higher, the red parts. And I'm again switching to a very dark blue purple. It's almost a real indigo blue. Hardly any red parts in there. And I'm hardly in the frame. Jeez. Last video it worked so well. Why Why was I not able to do that this time around? Man. So, yeah. I'm just gonna color all of the pieces of the shell. And I'm blending with the medium color, I'm blending together the deepest color, the darkest color with the lightest color. So I'm just going over the medium stuff again and again, with the medium stuff again and again until everything is blended. So with that part of the shell, I did not even bother with the lightest color first. I'm only going in with the highlights pretty much right now. Going over the medium, again, blending everything together. And you can blend with the medium or with the lightest color. It depends on how many colors you use for one piece. You can blend with the medium or the lightest color best. And there are also tools available, like a transparent pen or a pencil that actually does not, like I said, it's transparent, but it doesn't put any color to the drawing, but only blends colors together. And I think that's a great thing. If it is in a set that you buy, cool, use it. But I would not buy it standalone or I would only buy it standalone if I would mainly or only color or do my art stuff with colored pencils. Having it just as one of the tools in my palette, I'm not gonna bother and buy that blending pencil, but it works pretty well. And if you don't have the colored pencils that are soft, but more like these ones that I'm using, more the waxy kind of colored pencils, you can actually use the white pencil, as well to blend things, because you won't have a lot of white pigments left on the paper anyways. So I'm using, if I really, really want to blend something and I'm unable to do that with the colored pencils, I will use the white one on top and blend everything together and make it smooth. So I moved on to the star, and I started out with the medium orange, did go to the dark orange for parts of the star to give it a 3D look, and now I'm in with it's an orangey red to go for the real darks. And with the same color scheme, I think I'm starting a bit darker on the orange. I'm coloring in the crab. So I'm not starting as light with my first color. That's actually more like the medium color of the sea star thing. But again, I'm going on with the second orange that I use, but I use a bit more pressure here than on the star to define or to darken some parts of the crab a bit more. You can see I left out the right hand side, or now lower part of the crab. Just did go for the very light one there, the very light orange. In comparison, in comparison to the other oranges, and I'm just going over with the red right away. And so it looks like a 3D. And I only use technique and knowledge for light and shadow so far, or so much on the images. Most times it's just, I don't think. My hand knows where to put what and make it look nice. Not even realistic sometimes, and that's fine too, but make it look nice. If I want to go for the realistic stuff that takes hours and hours to draw, of course my technical brain jumps in, but for these kind of images here, like the cartoony images, I can actually just go where I want to go. I don't even think about it. So I'm going with a turquoise and a dark indigo here for that second kind of a shell. Coloring it very rough, almost semi-opaque only. I think this is one of the pieces where the book shines through the most. Now I'm going for this lovely squid. I decided to call it a squid, even if it is a squib and I'm wrong. But I'm calling it that. And I'm coloring it with a very bright lime apple green. I love that green, by the way. It has quite a high yellow part, so green is mixed of yellow and blue. And in that kind of an apple lime green, the yellow parts in that green are way higher than the blue parts. And I really, really like that kind of painting. So this green here has more of blue part, but it has no red part in it. There's some greens like the sap green and stuff, so more the earthy greens, they do have a tiny bit of a red in there just to make it warmer. And that minty tile green definitely has a high blue and quite a yellow part there, but no red. So to give it the squid a contrast, I did put pink on the inner parts of the legs, and I'm going to color those, I don't know what they are called, but the rings that help him hold on to something. I'm gonna color them dark red. And that's kind of quite a colorful squid there. Going in for a very final shade with a very dark turquoise. Turquoise and green actually work perfect together in any medium to create a dark green or a shadow for a green, just FYI. Now I'm moving forward to the very special animal of the sea, the submarine. And I'm starting with that weird color that I would say is almost like olivey gray, if something like that exists. It has quite a green in there, but it also looks quite gray, or it works very well as a shade for gray. So I'm going in with a light gray here on top, and you can see how dark both of those colors combined are in the end. So I don't know what the first color was, but it works very well with grays. So I'm using a normal black for the very dark shades and some definition on the submarine, and that's that. That's actually enough for the submarine. I don't need to have too many things there. Going for a little line with where you can see the parts being welded together of the boat, but that's that. Not much more. Oh, a periscope. Sure, periscope must be. And now I am using my white marker, permanent marker, to color in the eyes of, I think, a couple of animals in the end, and also the black marker for, of course, the pupils and stuff. Just to, because the book pages are quite beige or yellowy. And putting the white on the eyes actually helps. Also, that crab, of course, had a bright smile, and so it had to get a white line on the mouth. I'm going on with another fish, and this time I'm using yellow. This is more, sunshine lemony yellow. It is more of a cooler yellow, but not too cool. I'm going over it with almost Indian yellow orange, like the perfect mixture between a sunny yellow and an orange. And I'm just coloring that lot in. And for the very darks, I'm going for a very, very, very orangey red. And of course that fish has to get a white eye too. I will put a black dot on it later. And I'm off frame again. Really? What did I do on the crab? Oh, I whitened the eyes again because it was not opaque. So now we go for, what do we go for? The fishy or the other thing? The other thing that I don't know the name of. And I'm just gonna color it quite simple. I'm using a pinkish red first, at least on the upper part. And I'm going in with a dark, very red purple. It has very high parts of red in it, and I like it a lot together with pink. Makes the perfect combo for plants or for animals. I'm going with the same color. I'm going in to do some definition / shade, just to give it a bit of depth. And whenever you see me going upwards with my hand and the thing I'm painting, I'm looking at the screen of my camera and realizing, I might be off frame. But I never did it when I actually was off frame. I never realized it there. So I'm going in again with the same color, but way darker and a teensy tiny bit more blue than the one I used before, but it's really not a lot of difference there. Then I go and color that weird fishy, starting off with that lovely apple lime green again. I really love this color. Damn. I really like how colors can set a mood for you or make you feel something sometimes. It depends on the color there, but I really, really love that. And I'm amazed that colors can do that to you, that they can influence you so much without you even realizing it. Most of the time. So I'm going in with that mint tile color to add a bit more depth and definition to the fishy. And I'm again, just like with the squid, going for the very dark parts of the fish with the turquoise, dark turquoise color. I really like it, and that at any medium, how turquoise interacts with lime green or apple green. Apple green and indigo also mixes together so well. It's beautiful. I'm giving him an orange fin. I think it is called a fin. That part on the top of the fishy. And I'm coloring in the eye, and again, off camera or off frame with black and white. By the way, I realized that I'm more often than not, I'm off frame when I'm actually sitting down to draw on my desk, not when I'm standing. And most of the time I'm actually standing while I do the art journal stuff. But with those tiny things, I want to sit down. I will find something that helps me along staying in frame and still being able to sit down when I draw those tiny bits. I'm cutting all of the different animals of the sea. And I'm going to put them down on the left-hand side of the art journal page in just a few minutes. Just to make clear and sure that the blue is perceived as an ocean and not as just a background or a sky, maybe. Just to give the ultimate hint to everybody who does not know the character that we are in the realms of the underwater world. Now fishy gets an eye. I'm not cutting around the legs of the crab because I'm, for one, too lazy, and second, I think it would be too flimsy because they are just really so tiny, those legs. I don't want to ruin the design later on by maybe just flipping through the book or something. So I'm cutting the submarine next, also going around the periscope quite a bit because, again, I don't want to ruin anything. And now it's Squiddy's turn to be cut. I really like him. I think he is the favorite animal of mine that I drew today because he's just so vibrant and, well, I think he just turned out quite well. He's cartoonish, but then again, in comparison to the other animals, not so much. And I think I like that about Mr. Squid. Next is the blue shell. I was, by the way, thinking for I was thinking for maybe 2 minutes while I drew that blue shell if I wanted to add a pearl, but then again I said, well, no, because the shells that do have the pearls, they only live in a certain kind of temperatured water where squids and other fishies may not live, but other shells that have also that flat look, they live across all of the oceans in all kinds of temperatures. So to indicate that we are operating with the hero of the book in all 7 seas of the world, that there is no limit, I did not go for the pearl in the shell. It's amazing how such a little detail can actually change the scenery of a story taking place. It changed from warmer climates, so maybe Caribbean, to all over the planet just by leaving out that pearl. Oh boy. I'm so deep today. Why not? Depends. Whatever you want to set as a threshold here. So I'm just cleaning off all of the pieces that I did cut. I'm going back to the book, and you can see, before I zoom out, you can see that the pages are shining through, the print is shining through. You can't really see it when you, like with that camera angle and that zoom factor, you can't really see it, but in real life, and as you just saw, you can see the book pages shining through. So I brought Dirk back, and he is still a bit wet. Well, the ink is still a bit wet. And I'm just playing around with all of my doodles and cartoony parts of the ocean, what to put where, and I'm making sure that I'm true to where the animals live. Like if they're on the bottom of the ocean, like for example the crab and the shells and whatnot and the star, the squid can swim way deeper than, for example, that animal that I don't know the name of that is on the very top. So I'm staying quite true to that in how I position all of my animals, but in the end I'm bringing everything down, like way more down to the bottom of the page, because I think the denser way that it looks then makes it actually look complete or more complete, and not just like stickers on a page, if you know what I mean. It just gives the page a different vibe, a different feel that I do actually prefer. So I'm just playing around, going on, and then at one point, like now, I'm just starting gluing everything down. Again, since this is just the book paper, which is not the thickest and well, can easily be manipulated and glued down, I just use normal household glue, nothing fancy. Got that from the supermarket and it does the trick. So I'm cool with using that kind of a wet glue. I could have also used a glue stick, but I don't like those very much because they tend to go over the edge on the front page, the part that you see when you come to the edges of the thing that you want to glue down. They are actually better when you have a bigger piece of paper that you want to glue on some other paper. With those small ones, I hate the glue stick, I have to say. But then again, other people like it, so use the glue that you're most comfortable with. That's, I think, the best advice that I could ever give you. When it comes to art journaling or pretty much artwork or crafting, anyway, you of course need to have a glue that is strong enough to hold stuff together, especially when you're working with concrete or stones and wood and stuff. But, well, if you're just working with paper, use anything you like. So you see what I meant when I said that I got everything to the lower part of the page. Now that I have everything glued down, I'm just giving pretty much every part of the book page / those images a dab, so that all of the edges stay on, that the glue spreads underneath and holds everything to the page evenly. With the character to the right, I need a stronger one because I have a cardboard underneath, and I'm using white glue here. It's a bit stronger, and but it's very similar to the one that I just used. It's just a bit better for cardboard that does have that sealed thing on top, and you will see that even with that kind of a glue, the cardboard buckles, like it rolls a bit, and the edges of the portrait need way longer to stay on there. I used a hair clip on the lower part to just hold it down, but I want to go on with my page. I don't want to hold everything forever. So I'm just leaving it, and at one point I'm just using scissors and the art gel, putting it on top like the container, and that gives it enough weight to hold the thing down, the cardboard. I'm just leaving it there. I also got some, there we are. I also got some of that wavy cardstock that I have left from the tree project, you might remember, the revisitation thing. So I'm just cutting it in nice pieces, and I'm cutting waves out of that cardstock. Because I thought the left-hand side of the page would look pretty empty. And I do have another piece with the name that I'm going to put down, but it's not gonna be like half of that right page. So I wanted something in between the animals of the sea and the part where I put the name of the character down to make a border and still have both things connected. And I think the waves for the ocean were the perfect thing to go for. At least I liked it. There were other pieces of the art journal page that I was not too happy with, but this is actually one thing that I liked. And now you're wondering what I was not too happy with? Well, first of all, it bugged me that the markers did take so long to dry on the portrait. I also did not like the other way around. I knew beforehand that there would be a difference between the different styles that I would paint. Like, for example, the portrait could never look close to the animals just because I did use a different kind of style and also different kind of supplies. But the amount of difference, like the size of the spectrum from A to B, portrait being A and the animals being B, I was kind of disappointed that it was so different, and it took me a while to get used to or work around it pretty much. So the waves actually help with that problem, because there's a different style, a totally different style, that makes the page more complete or more harmonic or in tone, like with the different parts, because it is another totally different element that I bring in. It looks more rounded. I was actually thinking that it would only make another difference, and I had to later on somehow bring it all together. But I think the difference between the supplies and the style actually brought it together for quite a bit already. So I'm just gluing down some of the parts of the waves. I didn't use all of the paper pieces because it worked out with 3 of those waves. It was enough to suggest that we are under the sea and that these are waves and so on. So I just went with 3 waves. Now I gotta take a sip of coffee. While I wait that everything stays down on its own with that bulky book on the left hand side, it's really a hassle. So next week I'm going to change up the format for sure. While I take everything away and wait for everything to dry, I take a look at it and I decide that I need a bit more shades. So I dry everything off just to help the glue come along a bit quicker. It's not a big difference to let this kind of glue dry on its own or with a blow dryer, but I'm super impatient when it comes to art journaling, so hey, I gotta use the blow dryer. And I'm poking Mr. Dick Pitt here to have him stay down on the page and look presentable as well. And now that this is done, I'm going in once more for the blue color, giving it a bit more of a color actually. It faded a bit the first try, so I'm just going in for that with the Indian ink markers. And now I'm just checking out what else is missing. Going for the date for 1, because this is something that I really have to remember most of the times, that I have to put the date down or at least a month. And I'm now getting some cardstock that I had left from another project, and I'm just writing down the name of the character, since that character is so straight and so forward and so well, clean cut. I'm also going for the same style with his name. I'm not gonna fuzz about any ornaments or whatever like I did with last week's page, but with this one it has to be straight, it has to be clean cut, it has to be no muss, no fuss, pretty much. So it's off camera because I didn't have space. I did write the name down, and I got some turquoise ink. And I'm just inking the lower part of the cardstock a bit. Not too much, just a bit, and on the upper part I'm just dabbing on some color on the border, like on the frame, on the edge. And once that's done, I'm closing down my ink pad, and I like those mini ink pads, by the way. And I'm just using my stapler to put the page down. And I know that those pins will show on the design of last week, but it's well, you can really see it. It doesn't take away from last week's design. It's okay. It's silver. Silver is close to gray. There you go. So now I'm trying to figure out if I'm done or not. I'm checking and still trying to figure out, and I guess by the way you see me fiddling around and dabbing here and there, you know that I'm not done, and that I know at that moment that I'm not done. So I'm just going for a very dark blue with a ink pad, also with that mini ink pad, and I'm putting a bit of dark blue underneath some of the cartoony images to give it like maybe like a shadow or something, or just something where they can float on. And I'm also dabbing a bit here and there on the waves to enhance the pattern on the cardboard. Also, I'm using that ink pad quite a bit on the portrait. You see now that there is, aside from the shirt, that there is no blue in the portrait, and I think it stands out, yes, but it will also stand out if I put a bit of blue on it, but it will belong to the whole design a bit more, so I go in for a tiny bit of blue on the face and the neck to, well, make it even more artsy, the portrait, or just tie him in more with the design and make him part of the art journal page. And to also make it look maybe a bit more weird. So I think that's working out fine. So I guess my page is done. I thank you very much for watching. I would very much like if you thumbs up that video if you like the design or some of my ideas I put forward or inspired you in some way. I see you next week with the third design for the September challenge. And I hope you enjoyed. Take good care. See you next week and go create. Bye-bye.